Good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing? So this is our very first session of artificial intelligence with JavaScript. So we're going to start by breaking down the various terminologies we'll be hearing all the time, like artificial intelligence, machine learning, and then deep learning. And so let's start with artificial intelligence. And like we all rightly said yesterday, it is the ability to make a machine smart, or behave like a human being. And there are a lot of examples out there. We mentioned ChatGPT, which can actually interact with you as if you're talking to your fellow man. There are some bots out there that can perform very cool tasks. Like, for example, there's Tesla, the car. They have this software that can drive itself. It knows where obstacles are coming, whether to go right or left, whether to park, just as if a human being is behind the steering wheel. So these are examples of artificial intelligence, making machines smarter, giving machines the intelligence of humans. Okay, so then what is machine learning and what is deep learning? Now, machine learning and deep learning are under the field of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is the mother field, the main field. Machine learning is one field inside artificial intelligence, AI. Deep learning is another field inside AI. So let's move on to machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning. So it is the ability for computers or systems to learn how to behave through previous data. For example, I want a program that knows that this is a cat. Whenever I see a cat, it should tell me this is a cat. So I implement machine learning on that program. How can I do that? I can give the program like 1,000 images of cats, black cats, white cats, yellow cats, green cats, uh, cats running, cats sitting, cats sleeping, cats fighting, and all those images. So the machine will store it in its memory. So after that, tomorrow when it sees a cat, it will run it through its memory, and then if it matches the data it has in its memory, it will say this is a cat. If it doesn't match it, it will say this is not a cat. So that is machine learning, and not just for classification of images or telling you if it's a cat or not. That is how machine learning behave. You train them, they learn previously, and then they come forward and use what they've learned for future predictions or what things are, and that is basically how human beings behave. In the human brain, there's something called neurons. We'll talk about neurons later as a topic, maybe the next class. But for now, let me just graze on it. So there's something called neurons in your head. When you were a baby and you saw your first maybe cup on the table, you did not know it was a cup. You only know this object looks like this. That is all you know. Then you started growing up, they started calling it cup. So even if in your house you've only seen yellow cups, when you go out as you're growing and you see green cup, your brain will still look at the object. Oh, this object is familiar. I've seen this object before. We use it to drink water. So your mind will still call it a cup because it looks like a cup. So what is happening there is you are creating neural links in your brain that joins objects together to tell you what they are. That is how machine learning works. The model is actually similar to the functions of the brain. They call them neural networks. We'll talk about that later too when we are discussing neurons and nodes and units. So basically, the machine learning is copying how the brain works and using it to make machines smarter. And smarter machines are AIs. Okay, so that's that. So there are many ways we can use machine learning. There's something called image classification that I mentioned earlier. Machines can tell you what kind of image it is looking at, whether it's a video or a picture. It can tell you, oh, this is here. There's a cup in this picture. There's a dog in this picture. There's a human being in this picture, etc. Machine learning can also, I'm talking right now, it can actually understand what I am saying and give action. For example, if this video was an AI and I say, hey, AI, play me Sia, it will hear me to understand me, to go to my playlist and look for a Sia song and play it. We call that natural language processing, NLP. We'll also do some practical examples on it to create practical AIs, and you see how that works. It can do text to voice translation, voice to text. It can summarize text for you. It can read your text. It can write text for you. If you have a homework on pediatricians, write me a homework on pediatricians. The NLP model can write one for you. So that is one of the few things we can do with machine learning. There are a lot of things on your free time. You can Google some of the softwares you can make with ML, and you get tons of them. Okay, so then that takes us forward to deep learning. So there's a lot of concept about deep learning, but basically it is a technique on how to use machine learning. It is still machine learning, but it is a technique on how to use it. Deep means, in this case, it means multiple layers. You may not understand what layers are. We'll talk about that in the next section as well. Um, so in deep learning, there's a thing, or in machine learning generally, there's a thing called models, right? So the more layers the models have, the 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 more we can call it a deep learning machine. For example, you can see my 5 fingers on the screen. So let's say this whole 5 fingers is a model, and the job of this model is to tell you if somebody said something insulting. Maybe you're creating a software that is a chat software. So when people chat, you don't want people to insult each other. You want to weed out or filter out bad comments like "you're stupid," "you're mad," "fuck you," "you will die tomorrow," and stuff like that. So you don't want that to go through your chat. You want to block it whenever users text something like that. So you create a model, all right? So these are this is a model. My 5 fingers is a model. Now each finger can be called a layer. We'll talk about layers later, but just so you know, each finger can be called a layer. So here I have 5 layers, right? So let's say the text will pass through layer one. Layer one will filter it, do some work, send it to layer two. Layer two will filter it, do some work to layer three, filter to layer four, and then finally to layer five, which is the last, which is the output layer. So the more layers I have inside my model, the deeper I can say my model is. I don't know what the threshold is. Maybe you can have like 10, 20 layers, you can call it a deep learning model. So that is deep learning. It is a technique on how to use machine learning. The more layers you have, the deeper your machine learning is. And I think it also makes your results better, but it makes your program go a bit slower because it takes time to go across all the layers. And I think it also affects your CPU, your RAM space and all that. So you need better machines. If you have really slow system, along the line, you start thinking about to bring it up a bit. Okay, so that's artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. If you have any questions there, ask me. Although I'm dropping a text version of this that goes into all the details just after this video right now. So let's talk about models. What are models? Um, Machine learning models are basically the brain of the AI. It tells the AI how to behave. Unlike human beings, a human being can do many things. You can be a painter, a farmer, a dancer, you can be a good father, you can be a good friend, you can be a student, all at the same time. But an AI focuses on, I think, one task or just a few tasks. So the model will be based on that task which we want the AI to do. For example, it's a security AI that tells you when people are entering your house and gives you an alert. That is all the AI is doing. So that model is the brain that has been trained to do that thing. Do you understand? It is the brain that has been trained to do that particular task or a few tasks. So how do models work, or how are models created? I wanted, still going by the example of the security model, the security AI. I will feed it a lot of pictures of human beings. A human being standing, walking, crouching, wearing a face cap, all those things. And I'll tell it, and I'll write an algorithm that says, okay, so you're watching my garage. If you see this kind of object, send me a notification. So it can do that. You can be anywhere in the world. It will send a notification. Person detected or intruder detected. You see, so that is how models work. They take in the training data sets and then they use it to work later, right? So why all the buzz around AI? Why are AI so cool? Why are we talking about AI a lot? This is because it is the closest we have come to creating something like us, human beings. I mean, uh, as programmers, you write code and your code does a particular thing, but AIs can learn, they can grow and become better, which is very, very cool. Okay, so during our course, we're going to learn how to use models in three ways. Three ways. We'll learn how to use models in three ways. The three ways out there, which is very cool. We'll learn how to use what we call pre-trained models. We'll talk about that in the next section. We'll learn how to use custom models, which are models that we created ourselves. You know, we wanted to do this, we create it from scratch. And we'll also learn how to use transfer learning, meaning we'll take a model that has been created before, we'll add something, remove some things so that it will serve our own purpose, right? Okay, so that's it for today. Watch the video first, then read the text later, and I'll be expecting to hear feedback from you guys. I sent a link, tensorflow.js.org, to you guys. Go there, check out the site. So the site is where some models are. We'll be using those models later. So go through the demos, play with it a bit. In the demos, there are some machine learning demos you can try out there. There's some AIs there you can try that and see how AIs work in the real world. So that when we are doing something, we know, okay, this has been done before, or this is how this is done, and we'll know what to expect. Have a great day, you guys. The video is a bit longer. From the next one, I'll try to make it shorter.